Now I request Professor Mark. So he is waiting for us since a long time. And he is Vice President of the AAF, which is a very well-known professor. Let me introduce me in just a few seconds. And he is a professor of anthropology, University of Kansas, United States of America. He is a well-known scholar at international repute, and he is a very much helpful to the organization. He is one of the pillars of our organization, and we are thankful, sir, for your kind presence, and we are all anxiously waiting for your lecture. Thank you. Please, we welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy.
Yes.
Can everybody hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Well, this morning the title of my talk is Anthropology, the Moral Imagination, Reclaiming Our Power to Reimagine and Transform the World. By way of acknowledgement, I'd like to thank Dr. S.D. Roy, the founder and chairman of Inaugural, Professor Nirvana Betty, our esteemed president of the Association for the Anthropology of Humankind, Dr. Rakina Mukherjee, the executive director of GiveLive. I'd also like to thank Dr. Gade, the general secretary of the association, as well as my esteemed colleagues from West Bengal State University, honored guests and friends. It has been given a privilege to speak in a city where intellect and conscience have never been bridged. Here, Tagore taught us that art and ethics are one gesture of the human spirit, and Nirmal Kumar Bartholomew showed that science must serve civilization rather than subjugate. Inaugural has long embodied what anthropology itself aspires to be, a dialogue between empathy and inquiry, between the poetic and the precise. Today we gather not merely to exchange research, but to renew a covenant. For anthropology's moral imagination, vocation is a science of meaning, empathy, and repair. Time summons nothing less. Our planet groans under climate chaos, public health inequality, and existential disorientation. The question is not what we study, but why and for who we study. Can anthropology help humanity reimagine its future? I believe it can and must. Anthropology is the science of moral imagination. The discipline is haunted by explosion, or by empire. Yet from that shadow emerges our possibility of redemption. Moral imagination is not a romantic flourish, but a disciplined perception. The trained capacity to habit another's moral horizon while remaining answerable for one's own. The bridge between precision and passion, analysis and reference. Anthropology is thus not merely a social science, it is a moral technology. Know without care, classification. To care without charity, sentimentality. Calling lives and holding both. Knowledge tempered by tenderness disciplined by knowledge. It's not ornament, it is necessity. As the United Nations pursues sustainable development goals, anthropology supplies moral lexicon beneath the metrics, ensures that SDG 3, good health and well-being, is not merely a numerical target, but a lived ethic of dignity. To remind the technocrat that health is not simply a medical state, but a social relationship of trust and belonging. Anthropologists to serve its moral calling, methods must be re-enchanted with responsibility. Field work is no longer abstraction, but no presence. Anthropologist is guest and witness, collaborator and learner. Consent is not a signature on paper, but a conversation revisited through at a time. Craft must embrace multi-locality, story mapping, short film, digital repatriation, and community archives, techniques through which knowledge returns to its source. Translation itself is a moral act. Translate is to carry the world without reducing, honor difference without fixing as exotic. Thus, method becomes pedagogy, and research becomes relationship. For this reason, the World Health Organization and UNICEF now serve anthropologists in times of crisis. During the Ebola epidemic in Sierra Leone, it was anthropologists who explained why burial rituals matter, who thereby help save lives by bridging belief to biomedicine. COVID-19 vaccination campaigns across in Latin America. Anthropologists who translated fear into dialogue and dialogue into trust. Anthropologists here has become an instrument of public health. So reimagining the human condition. To imagine the human is truly covered in truth that existence is relational. Among the campesinos of primitive Amazon, Muyuna, a spiral current defines river, spirit, and sin. Among the Conde of Luisha, the earth is breath, elder mother. These are not superstition, systems of philosophy, ecological metaphysics, cosmology, and ethics, and faith. Anthropology at its noble such lived grandeurs of being converse with policy. Tells the IPCC that sustainability without meaning is unsustainable, that ecology without ethics, management without mercy. Data is divorced from devotion, and produce statistics without soul. Ask is to united. From reflection to transformation. Reflection without transformation is complacency. The Subrans, Dibra teams co-create climate resilient livelihoods with more families. Cruz Guayaga Valley Health trained by a field school, re-embed botanical medicine within public clinics. The Sahara Women's Cooperatives built microfinance systems grounded in kinship trust. These is anthropology's civic intelligence, knowledge made answerable to the challenges of daily life. The WHO's One Health framework now recognizes this ethos explicitly. When animal and ecosystem health is a single continuum. Anthropology supplies the method through which that continuum can be understood and transformation. Here, participant observation ceases to be a mere technique, becomes a temperament, a willingness to be transformed as encountered. Addressing critiques of engagement anthropology. There are those who worry that engagement dilutes rigor, that to advocate is to lose objective. Mistake detachment for discipline. Bias cannot be erased, but it can be rendered transparent. When we record doubt as simplicity as data, to make food auditable. Reflexivity is not confession, accountability. Today, WHO and the UN deploy anthropologists precisely for this reason, because we translate culture into novel forms of human collaboration and empathy into efficiency. Engagement is not a betrayal of science, it's fulfillment. Indian anthropology and the ethic of service. Perhaps nowhere has the union of knowledge and service more enduring than in India. Our WAAC-2026 humane genealogies, as things people of India prosper. Our discipline is always balanced with criticism and empathy. And the tradition continues to discipline Athlete, Adivasi lands, ethnographies of climate migration, studies of gender adaptation, ecological stress. Here, SDG 13, climate action, and SDG 15, life and land, are realized not in summits, but in villages. Across Arunachal Pradesh, anthropologists co-create environments, governmental tools that turn the margins into models. Kerala ethnographers working with epidemiologists help the state respond to crisis with dignity rather than fear. Indian anthropology teaches the work of service is not a supplement, but the substance of science. Planetary crisis, moral commitment. We stand at a planetary crossroads. Climate change, displacement, despair converge into a single crisis meaning. Our technological capacity outpaced our moral imagination. Anthropology's strength lies in its quiet power, brings out communities that community loss and renewal. In the Sudan's women plant mangroves as ritual acts of hope. Brahmas shall we ever provide a new pilgrimage as reconciliation to an altered river. In Nepal, youth see banks to biodiversity and belong. These are not symbolic gestures. They're systems of resilience, culture as a renewable source, identity, social reproduction. Through the UNDP's Community Resilience Map, World Bank's Indigenous Knowledge for Climate Adaptation Programs, anthropologists anchor global policy and local cosmology. The new paradigm is emerging. A planetary politics of meaning where SDG 13 and SDG 15 meet the ancient ethics here. Let me turn to one illustration called Amazonas Region of Peru, where anthropology, public health, and climate science reform. At 7 years, our team studied biodiversity, blood glucose patterns among the chief Shawu peoples. We witnessed narrowing diets, metabolic disorders, with silencing of harvard songs at once. In partnership with Urban Develop, we conducted a randomized trial comparing the low glycemic index by Louisiana State University with a local long-grain variety. Amazonian strain, Janusi, proved remarkably resilient and nutrient-dense, prompting renewed interest in indigenous cultivars and healthy local food sources. You see SDG 3 and SDG 13 converge. Meets climate resilience. Songs return to the patties, and knowledge is co-owned. It is clear, resilience is not a tactic, but a moral relationship with the earth. It grows from reciprocity We inherit a discipline whose entangled with colonial legacy. Let's redeem our imperial history to engage public anthropology. Classroom, every feeling, every exchange between student and community can become an active, ethical activity. First, look for the just world we hope we have. Teach ethnography as listening to tricking generations in time. When we teach theory as translation, we remind them that the abstraction must return to the ground from which it arose. And when we teach field work, we make research itself a form of reconciliation. This, I believe, is the engaged public anthropology that 20th century requires. Not an art of detachment, but a science of radical solidarity. Our vocation then is to accompany rather than to admit, to interpret rather than to amplify the local wisdom that already sustains the world. Let us be clear, the crises we face are not only ecological or economic, moral. They stem from a failure to imagine relationships with transactional, failure to feel a full presence within the living systems. Address climate change is not merely to reduce them, to restore reverence, to confront inequality, not only to distribute resources, but also to recover recognition. Anthropology at its best is the recognition made systematic, the ethics of relation elevated with knowledge. And so our charge is immense. Our inheritance is luminous. From Franz Boas defined racism to Zora Neale Hurston's absolute definition of bliss. David Raymond was that the ethnographer is also ethical. We can carry forward the history married to compassion. Today, under the guidance of institutions that IBRAD and the Association for the Anthropology of Time, this lineage is reborn by one. Thank you very much.